Hi, it's Jeff Chalmers here from discoverdouble.bass.com. That's the home of online double bass lessons. So if you're interested in more like this one, you know where to go at the end of the video. Now, today I'm going to be talking you through the Latin piece that you've just heard, the Latin bass groove. I'm going to teach you how to play that, talk to you about phrasing and how you can adjust that to make it really groove and motor along nicely. But the main point of this lesson is that I'm going to teach you how to transpose a riff, we'll use the Latin one as an example, into 12 keys. There's a real kind of set method that I use to go through that process. So I'm going to explain exactly how you should do it. And to help you on your way, there is a backing track available and a full transcription with all the fingerings that I'm using as part of the Discover Double Bass study guide. So if you're interested in that, you can follow the links to find out more. And in the meantime, keep watching. We're going to get into the detail now. Well, before we look at the transposition element of this, let's teach you the bass line in the key of A minor. So there's no sharps or flats. This should be really straightforward. Okay, here's the riff. A, C, E, A. That's the first part. Second part is B, D, F, and then E, and then the low E. I'll play that through slowly. A, C, E, A, B, D, F, E, and then the low E. A, C, E, A, B, D, F, E. A, C, E, A, B, D, F, E, D. So now we've got the notes, let's have a quick look at how changing the phrasing can impact it. Try adding accents on different notes. Try cutting the notes short. Let me play it for you with the notes long, and then I'll play it with some of the notes short and some of them long. Let's have a listen. Playing it long. Trying to connect them. No space between the notes. Now short. Long, short. So that can really change how the bass line feels in the groove, especially when you add in the drums as well. So I'd like you to experiment when you're learning any bass line with the phrasing, and that means the length of, well, it can mean the length of the notes, and it can also mean the dynamics as well. So length, dynamics, they're the two things that you should be experimenting with when you're coming up with your own bass lines and grooves. To transpose this into 12 keys, you really need to be listening very carefully. So try to engage your ears when you're playing, really listen out for any patterns that may be repeating in the bass line. So for instance, there are two raising triads that happen in this pattern. It's the first one, just going up the arpeggio. And then there's another one that happens before falling to the fifth note of the chord there and playing that octave. So I'm listening to those two raising triads and also the octave pattern at the end. Muscle memory will help you when you come to transposition to a point on the double bass. It's very effective on bass guitar because essentially using more fingers you're able to get more, move around the instrument a little easier than you do on double bass. But let's have a look at playing this in the key of D. It's exactly the same thing in terms of fingering. Now when we move up a fourth again to the key of G, the pattern is completely different, and if you were using muscle memory you'd have run out of strings. Now on a quick side note, we're moving up in fourths each time, and eventually that will take us through all 12 keys. If you want to learn more about that, you can follow the links that I've provided in the lesson notes as to why that's a good thing to practice. I've done a lesson on that might help you. But the point is we've moved from A to D to G, but now we've run out of strings, so we're going to have to change the pattern, especially if we want to stay in this lower area of the bass, which we do. And straight away the pattern is different, completely different. But the way that I'm thinking in my mind is intervals, not just patterns. Yes, patterns are useful because the bass is, you know, symmetrical and you can move across the instrument to a point, but then you very quickly find that you'll have to move into awkward, you know, and different hand shapes on the double bass. It's not as easy as something like the bass guitar. So when we reach G, I'm thinking about the intervals of the bass line that we've been playing. And there's two ways that I could do this. Let's revert back to the key of A minor and I'll show you what I mean. I could be thinking, okay, this is in a minor key, sounds minorish, and I can see the minor triad at the start really helps me get that sound in my ear. So I could think root, third, fifth, root, second, 4, 6, or flat 6, 5, octave. So root, third, fifth, root, second, 4, flat 6, octave. And that's quite a hard way of doing it because you've got a lot of notes all referencing back to the beginning note that you play. But what about if we identify the chord progression here? Then we can hear the chords and we can build the intervals from the chords. Let me show you what I mean. So this progression is A, B, E. So it's chord 1 to chord 2 to chord 5. So 1 bar of A minor, half a bar of B minor 7 flat 5, and half a bar of E7. So now I know that, it means that I can relate the intervals to each chord. Now, I know that I've sort of rushed through that part, and for you to hear these chord progressions will take time, but you may already know what the chord progression is. Perhaps you can see the chords written out, or if you don't know, you can listen for the root movement and try and hear the chords changing, and that will really help you. Plus, over time, experience will make this whole process a lot easier, as you'll see a lot of repetition. So this pattern of a 1, 2, 5 is very common. Okay, so here I'm going to go 0, 3, 5, so sorry, 1, 3, 5. I'm thinking intervals now, not notes. 1, 3, 5, 1. And now I'm going to think 1, 3, 5 in the key of B minor 7, well, over the chord of B minor 7 flat 5, B, D, F. And then I'm just going to think 1, 1, or root, for the 5 chord. So now I've broken this pattern down. I've got root 3, 5, and the next part plays the root again, and then it's root, 3, 5, and then root. And it'll help you to link up these intervals with the chords, the chord changes. It'll make everything a lot easier, a lot quicker than relating it, doing it the way I did previously. I was going root 3, 5, root 2, 4, flat 6, root. Oh, sorry, 5, 5. It gets pretty complicated pretty quickly, as you can tell. So, okay, so I'm going to be thinking intervals over chord progressions, and that's the key. Let's move through the changes then. So we've reached G. Root 3, 5, root 3, 5, root, if you like. And that's the fingering that I'm using. Now I don't want to dwell on it too much. It's the same. Muscle memory comes in and helps us again in the key of C minor. And the fingering that I'm using is 4, 1, 0, 4, 0, 4, 1, 0, 4. And now we're moving to the key of F. And we've got a few choices here. We could play further up the neck or lower down here. But when we reach the C, the fifth of the chord, we have to play that note twice because we don't have the low C, the octave below that. Up to B flat. Same muscle memory. To E flat. So there's 3 keys there that we've just whizzed through that are using pretty much the same fingering. So this muscle memory is really important, but we wouldn't be able to rely on it to get us through all 12 keys because it's quite different from what we've worked on previously. Now let's move to the last few keys that we've got. Where are we? A flat. Now this is a tricky one because the fingering here requires quite a lot of shifting for 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 1, 1. And then we move up to D flat, and I'll show you an alternative fingering as well. Now, we could do it the same way, or we could think to ourselves, okay, let's find this note D flat and move up the neck. But to do this, you've got to be more confident in your tuning. But there's still some tuning anchors that you can use. The A, falling to the A flat, root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. Now we're moving on to the last few. We've got G minor, sorry, G flat, B, E, and then we're back into the key of A minor. We've just gone all the way around the cycle. Now that was really big, it's a big exercise there. We've taken a bass line, we've identified the root movement, the chords, and we've moved through all 12 keys. And there's different fingerings for a lot of the music. So I'm kind of, trying to move through this quite quickly for the benefit of the lesson. But it would really help you if you go through it very slowly yourself and figure out the fingerings yourself. Don't necessarily come back to what I've done and copy it note for note. Maybe try and work it out yourself, see how you get on, and from there you can then establish your own preferred fingerings, and you might find some areas that you need to work on with your tuning. I find the A flat and the D flat really quite tricky in terms of playing in tune compared to something like the A. So yeah, there's always work to be done, and it will help you find what you need to work on next. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that lesson. It is fairly hard going in a short video lesson like this to cover so much ground, but I've also created these backing tracks that you will have heard at the beginning of the lesson, and I'll maybe play some now as well, that are in 3 different tempos. So that will really help you to be playing with the piano, doubling the bass line, so you can check if you're playing in tune. You'll really know it if you're not playing in tune. And there's also the lesson notes and the transcription that come as part of the Discover Double Bass study guide, which you can learn more about by following the links below. Keep practicing hard. I'll see you next time.